In the course of my work, sometimes I meet businessmen or entrepreneurs who have started a business. It is growing, but the level of growth has been limited. Maybe they desire to be able to grow much further. Maybe they desire to be able to conquer new markets. Maybe they desire to have a bigger product range, but their strategy so far has not worked. What are some of the things that you could be able to incorporate in your business strategy to be able to allow your business to be able to grow, to flourish, and become better? So the first thing after talking to them is, majority of people do not have a set strategy. And even if they have a set strategy, it does not include some of the things that I'm going to talk about. So if you have a strategy, or if you do not have a strategy, these are some of the things that you need to incorporate in your business strategy. The first thing is you need to identify the available opportunities around your business. What are the available opportunities? Where can you be able to pursue that has not been pursued further? Where can you be able to grow towards in your business? You may have a business that, for example, includes things to do with selling of spare parts for cars. Maybe you could grow into the space of motorcycle spare parts. Maybe you could grow in the space of offering services such as maintenance services of cars using your own components that you have in your business. What is the area of growth and opportunity that is there in your business? Because again, strategy sometimes is long term, not just short term. So how are you looking at growing the business? You could grow the business by upward integration, that is going from spare parts up towards servicing the cars and doing the maintenance. You could grow downwards, that is in terms of manufacturing the actual components. So what is your business strategy? You could grow horizontally, which might include having other spare parts for tractors, for motorcycles, for other things. But many people do not have this in their strategy. The strategy on how are we going to grow, because how you're going to grow impacts how you're going to make decisions and the opportunities and the partnerships you're going to seek for your business. The other thing when I talk to these individuals, I realize is majority of the individuals are so enclosed on the day-to-day detail running of the business. Majority of businessmen start as a one-stop shop. Them as individuals, that is, they are their own accountant, they are their own messengers, they are their own salespeople. They do everything in the business, and as they grow, they're supposed to let go of some of these things that they do so that they can be able to concentrate on the overview and the leadership role in the business. But a majority of the individuals still stick or still try to micromanage the small processes down in their business, down to the bare bones activities of the business. Please, by doing this, you are depriving yourself of the opportunity to be able to look at that business in a more leadership role that could be able to help your business navigate some of the portals that may be in the way of your business growth. So look at the details, be beyond the day-to-day details, be over and have a conceptual view of that business, have a leadership role in that business, and equip and grow individuals who could be able to take on the day-to-day tasks and the details within the business, without which you cannot be able to grow. Your strategy may not be able to work because you are thinking about the day-to-day running of the business rather than the growth and the potential and the opportunities that you can be able to pursue in a business strategy. Of course, many businesses do not plan for downsides. Yes, you should be able to plan for downsides. It is important to pursue a growth trajectory that is ambitious, but it is also good to be able to have a little bit more funding, a little bit more resources set aside for 2 or 3 months where a disruption may be able to occur. Case in point is in the recent corona crisis that is happening. Businesses were affected. So if you're in the kind of business that was affected by corona, if you did not have some reserves, then you are going to suffer. If again you did not have a plan on how to scale down and be able to manage expenses significantly lower to be able to reduce your outflow of cash, even as the inflow of cash is affected, then your business strategy will fail and you may not be able to pursue business in turbulent times. So plan for downside, not just upside, how much money you are going to make, or how much business you are going to grow, which countries you are going to expand to, which product you are going to expand to. But in case of a threat, in case of something that causes a downside, how are you going to help your business? You could have cash reserves, of course, invested in cash, ready generatable resources that could be able to liquidate within a month to be able to meet urgent cash needs. Your business not be bringing in the cash flow that you need. But that is a strategy that you need to do. A lot of businesses do not even have a pricing strategy. You need to have a pricing strategy. Pricing strategy should be able to incorporate what you desire. What are the impacts that you desire for the business? You could have a pricing strategy that allows you to be able to penetrate a market, in which case you start with a lower than normal or average price in the market. You could have a market domination pricing strategy. You could have a different kind of model, but you need to find a way of pricing your product, not just having an arbitrary 20%. That is what some people do. You have all your costs, then you arbitrarily assign 20% return on investment or whatever percentage over and above what is your expenses, and assume that is what the market desires. But sometimes you can be able to also look at ways to be able to price to remain competitive and to make enough money so that the business also makes sense to you, because it's a business, it's not an NGO. It's supposed to generate money, but again, it should also be able to support the various ambitions within the business. So pricing right and pricing effectively, and doing research continuously on how you can be able to price and how you can be able to cut costs without cutting corners and be able to remain competitive. Should another competitor come into the business, offer much lower price, sometimes even 50% less than your business, can your business be able to handle this? Again, that is what is connected to the business is, what is your funding? How are you looking at your funding? How are you funding? Are you too leveraged? Do you have too much debt within the business? How do you get money to be able to finance the business expansion? How do you get money to be able to support innovation? How do you be able to get money? And sometimes you may be required to seek for funding. And the unfortunate thing with most businessmen, they look for funding when the rubber is meeting the road, when they do not have cash flow, when they are struggling. Remember, funders can be able to smell a desperate businessman, and they are going to offer you much unfavorable terms because you are desperate. Search for funding even months before the actual cash crunch comes in, even before you need to pursue an ambitious strategy or an ambitious goal. Look for funding and plan for funding way in advance so that you can be able to attract good funding and can be able to get funders who can be able to provide much more than just the financing, but can be able to bring impetus into the business and experience that your young business could be able to use to grow even further. Of course, the other thing to do is to do with brands, innovation and marketing. A lot of businesses do not have strategy to incorporate this. You are a business. What is your unique brand? What would make somebody buy your product or buy your service and forsake all the other individuals? You need to have some sort of brand that can be identifiable. You need to learn how to create loyalty within the customers that you have, because remember, every business wins business every month. Every business loses customers every month. But the difference between a successful business and a not so successful business is that a successful business earns more customers in a month than it loses. The unsuccessful one loses more business than it is gaining in a particular month. And so the sales volume go down in an unsuccessful business, while the sales volume in a successful business grow up. However, there's also another factor that most people do not consider: loyal customers. People who are loyal to the brand, people who are going to go to a supermarket, who are going to go to a store and look for your individual product, because they equate your individual product to maybe quality, maybe to certain ethos that they identify with. This is what I'm talking about: loyal customers and brand. And this is where you need to work on, because loyal customers will buy your brand despite the competition in the market, despite the prices, because they are attached to your brand. But you need to have a strategy to be able to encourage this loyalty, because sometimes in the thick of things, these loyal customers are the ones who are going to get you out of a rant in your business. Of course, the other thing you need to identify is, has your business grown too much for you to be able to handle. And this is where I talk about, is your experience limiting the actual growth of your business? Maybe you want to venture out in a new territory, in a new country, and maybe you have only been operating in one country. Do you have the experience to be able to go through that? Do you have the impetus? Sometimes you can be able to buy this experience by hiring consultants who can be able to help you in expansion and growing the business in the new territories. Maybe you could take a sit-back role, take a role that is more laid back and allow somebody else to come in and as a CEO who has been able to operate and do this expansion in other businesses. But sometimes your business can be able to outgrow you, and you need to realize when the business outgrows you, because the growth of the business is stifled by your own capacity and ability to be able to manage the growth of this business. This is something that many entrepreneurs will never want to be told. Maybe your business has outgrown you. Maybe you are just limiting your business. It becomes like a bird that has grown, that has all the feathers, but the parents have been babying it too much and it is gaining too much weight and cannot be able to fly, simply because the parents of this bird did not allow it to be able to stretch and use its arms and fly, because it was stifled by these parents. So don't be that stifling entrepreneur who is stifling your business to be able to help it grow and to be able to become something great. Of course, the other thing is that I've already talked about is the expansion plan. You need to understand, what expansion are you looking into? How are you going to do this expansion? And be able to identify the things that could be able to help you diversify well, be able to grow well, to be able to seek challenges and opportunities well. Because remember, some businesses can operate on a closed mindset or on a closed system. But when they do that, they cannot be able to adapt to new changes in the market. What are the threats, my friends, into your business? What are the threats? Can government legislation come up and stifle and kill your business in an instant? You need to be able to identify, if this happens, what is this other thing that I can be able to expand to or diversify to be able to help my business grow and thrive beyond this threat? Many people don't want to think about threats, but think about threats and incorporate them in your strategy, so that you can have a plan B should your plan A become impossible to implement. I hope that you are learning on how to be able to build a strategy that can be able to help your business grow and mature into a household name. My name is George Kingoria, online finance guy who speaks about all things finance. You're going to be able to save, invest, grow, and also manage your business. Thank you and enjoy your day.